It was a bright sunny day, a perfect time for happy travels, as many were going to visit the famous Star Park that had just been built. But unbeknownst to them, there was a serial gooner appearing, lurking in the shadows to assault goon-worthy women and girls. This was why the famous detective, Noir Gray, was on the hunt for this elusive criminal. He was relaxing in his booth when suddenly he heard footsteps. Chuck, the train driver, and his trusty assistant on this mission, appeared. He quickly reported that an incident had occurred, and the victim had been found unconscious on the floor in a pool of sticky white liquid when her mother walked in and screamed. The victim was a little girl, Jessie, and her mother, Pam, desperately wanted to capture the assailant. There were many people on this train, but Gray, with his trusty detective skills, was able to narrow it down. There was El Primo heading for his wrestling match, Frank visiting his friend Mortis, and Buster, who was going to film a quite freaky video. Kinda suspicious, isn't it? Who do you think the gooner is? Gray decided to trail each assailant to determine whether they were engaging in any suspicious activities. The first one he decided to trail was Buster, since he seemed the most likely to be the assailant as a porn actor. He arrived at Buster's house and waited to see when he would leave to start trailing him. Buster left at 10 a.m. with an outfit that seemed to normal for someone like him. He trailed Buster until he reached a warehouse where Buster got out of his car and met a lady with big jugs. It turns out the lady was also a porn star, Lola. They both went inside the warehouse to start filming. Gray waited outside hoping to catch them coming out with more little kids, but after 2 long hours, he decided to enter and see what was taking so long. He slowly approached the door to the warehouse before slowly swinging it open. Unfortunately, it was just Buster, busting. Gray felt disgusted as he witnessed the two making love on the couch, deciding that they were not the culprit, and finally left the scene. Who will he visit next? 1 down, 2 to go. Gray was contemplating his life as he strolled down the street. Despite being a world-renowned detective, even a street-level thug could reel in hotter gals than he could. With his self-esteem practically demolished, he sought out the next suspect. He decided to trail Frank, as he was the closest. Waiting at Mortis's house, he spotted Frank, his big body causing the ground to rumble as he climbed the stairs to Mortis's house. Earlier, he caught information of some suspicious underground deals happening around here, so he wondered if they could be connected. But as he peeked through the window, it turns out far from what he expected. Frank and Mortis were, let's just say, were enjoying each other's presence a lot. Apart from that, stacks of cocaine and marijuana were lying around, with the pills scattered about. Gray was tired of seeing all this romantic stuff, so he decided to speedily depart, while tipping off the local cop, RT, about this. With only one suspect left, it was only a matter of time until the mystery was exposed.
Breaking news. Late at night yesterday, local police performed a raid on 2020 Brawleywood Avenue after an anonymous tip-off. 2 culprits, Mortis, age 23, and Frank, age 25, were caught overdosing on illegal substances while also committing adultery. According to a witness of the raid, he commented, "It was right out of a nightmare. I didn't even think you could fit that monstrosity inside something, and then they proved me wrong right there." The witness is now required to get therapy for 36 months due to this. Be vigilant, brawlers, and this is Brawl News.
The last suspect, El Primo, the Sigma of Sigmas, remained. Although many respected and feared him for his overwhelming strength, he stood tall as a figure of kindness for all. So why did Gray suspect him in the first place? He figured that despite all his fame, El Primo might be hiding a dark side within himself. Primo came out looking pumped and jumped in the car. He arrived at his wrestling match against Edgar, but the puny punk stood no chance to the wrestling goat. After a complete smackdown and 3 dings of the bell, Primo left and headed to the train station, while Gray quickly followed behind him. He notices El Primo head in while looking around, acting very suspicious. However, in the train car, he saw El Primo getting fondled by quite a big girl. It was La Prima, El Primo's girlfriend, although she looked big enough to be the boyfriend. Severely shocked by what he just witnessed, he walks away dazed. It seems that none of the suspects were the culprit. What is Noir Gray's next step now? Gray was trembling, But not from shock, he was shaking angrily from the fact that he had no trail left to find.
You stupid.
This incident had severely wounded his ego, and he needed to figure out what had happened before he crashed out. He started backtracking to where the incident had started. As he recalled events, he realized something. Everything clicked. All this time, he had been receiving info from his assistant, but as he went through the evidence, it didn't fit together. He realized now who the true culprit was. Chuck. He recruited Belle and Cordelius, and after laying a trap, Chuck, crying ugly tears of oil, was silenced and dragged to the Shadow Realm for imprisonment and eternal backshots. Gray, proud after another successful mystery, returned home. But he still harbored intense frustration at the fact that even the ugly Chuck was able to get more kitty than him. Gray grabbed the TV remote and turned it on. And what did he see? A little moaning and Buster busting. Follow for more series like these.